And Anglo-Vedic. In those days, there was now we call it a misnomer. In those days, it must have been something that is very important. The word Anglo was meant that the knowledge would come from there. In those days, I'm talking about in 886.
Right.
And Vedic was something that the Arya Samaj believed in. So Gurudat Vidyarthi suggested, let us call it DAV. But I think he must have felt that Anglo was such a strong word in those days that it may become too strong and overpower poor Dayanand and Vedas.
Okay.
So he surrounded that word with two big pillars, one side Dayanand, one side Ved, and he told the DAV people now that are existing, go ahead, make your institutions, make your schools, make your colleges, but within all your schools and colleges must be on those two pillars, keeping in mind Dayanand and Ved.
We're still in conversation with the chairman of the Dayanand Anglo-Vedic College Management Committee. But before we move on into our conversation with Mr. Suri, just a little thought for the day, and it is from Swami Dayanand, who said very beautifully so, the greatest musical instrument given to a human being is the voice. And since it is with this voice that we communicate what we do. So when we look at education today, and India, we keep saying is waiting to reap the demographic dividend. A lot of young people coming out, expectations changing. I think getting a job is all the more critical because the quality of life young people want to live is higher in aspiration levels. The focus, we believe, should be on higher education or primary education, because somewhere the fundamentals of young people, they are educated in terms of a thappa or a stamp, but are not employable. So how do we solve this challenge?
Actually, I feel the problem has to be solved right from the primary level. It is not only just in higher education. Everybody is looking for a job,
True.
A better quality of life. But then the word better quality of life, the word quality, that is which I would like to differentiate.
Okay.
You may have all the assets, the worldly assets, but if you don't have peace of mind, it is absolutely useless. And peace of mind does not depend on what assets you have. It is something that has to be inbuilt. So, we in DAV felt, like our Vedas, like Swami Dayanand told us, Manor Bhava. The job is to make first a good human being. A good human being, when made into a good professional, he is the employable person.
Right.
You may have a very good engineer, a highly qualified engineer, but if he is not a good human being, the bridge is going to break.
So
sooner or later, a good human being is required. These scams, these things that have been happening, where earlier you found the dacoits were uneducated, but today educated people are coming into crime. Maybe because they don't get the jobs, that is why they're stepping into it. So, in DAV we felt that we must work towards character building also. So we changed the focus, or we are in the process of changing the focus from job orientation to character building.
okay.
Of course, job is required, necessary, good professionals are required, but we need good human beings also.
Right. So in terms of young people and how they are looking at when they come to college, there are expectations and there are aspirations. So do you think over the years these are changing, the context is changing?
Oh yes, people are becoming extremely short-tempered.
Yeah.
The rage is increasing. And of course they are more intelligent, much more intelligent than what we were when we were young. They are far more aggressive and they know how to elbow the other person out. So because of that we are forgetting our culture and ethics that we require.
Right. So all the more reason for investing in character building, as you say.
Yeah.
Right. So when we link, and normally when somebody looks at a college degree, it's about what are the skills you're going to acquire to become a successful worker. You know, somebody who works in a field. And here we're also talking about saying character building is so critical. How do you incorporate that in your syllabus?
Yes, we have tried in our university. The basic idea of starting the university was this, because we were so far cowed down by the universities that were holding us, that we had to do what they told us to do. And the universities have not changed their syllabus or their syllabi for the last, maybe some have not changed it for 40 years, 50 years, 30 years.
Right.
So in our university, we tried to make industrial academia interface,
Okay.
where the syllabus is prepared in consultation with the industry. So we tailor make the children for that particular industry, whoever requires it. But of course, his character has to be impeccable. For that, certain courses he has to do.
Okay.
And in that, like, anger control, rage control, road rages that are happening, things like that, giving them the anger management programs, how to manage stress, meditation, things like that have to be taught to them. And they are made to do it. As a matter of fact, we have tried in our university that any course, they all have similar things in the first year. Like you take engineering, all engineering, whether it be civil, whether it be mechanical, whether it be electrical, the first year is common. Everybody does the same. So we have given a choice to the students.
Okay.
That you wanted to be a computer engineer, but your marks did not permit you to get into that. You've got into a different subject. Go ahead. After one semester, after the second semester, if you can get better marks, change again.
Wonderful.
Come back over there.
So the window of opportunity remains open.
Window of opportunity remains open, and if a child does what he wanted to do, he always fares better. Because education also means looking within oneself.
So true.
And trying to study one's own requirements. Not job requirements, but what one would like to be. And at younger ages, it's difficult to tell. Children do get carried away.
True.
And if I may use it in a little lighter vein, in class 12, yes, people do get stomach aches, and if they do not fare well. Most of them you ask what happened, stomach ache ho gaya tha. So they don't fare well. But then we give them another chance. Here is another chance. Go to your place. Go to what you want to do in our university. But along with that, he has to go through the rest of the mill of becoming a good man first. Manav Bhagwan banata hai, manavta DAV bharta hai. And that is our competence area.
Right. So जब हम नेशन बिल्डिंग की बात करते हैं सर, आपके व्यू में नेशन बिल्डिंग क्या है?
नेशन बिल्डिंग के अंदर जब तक हमें नेशन के अंदर जो कुरीतियां हैं, जब तक उनको हम दूर नहीं कर सकेंगे, तो हम कैसे आगे बढ़ सकेंगे? तो मेन स्टे हमारा कैरेक्टर के ऊपर आना चाहिए, जो अब बहुत मुझे खुशी होती है इस बात की कि अभी कुछ सालों से ही ये शुरू हुआ है कि वी आर प्राउड टू बी एन इंडियन. और इस प्राइड की वजह से वी कैन maybe build our nation back and come back to the heritage that our rich country had. हमारा इतनी cultural heritage है. We do glorify others कि भाई उन्होंने ये ले लिया, उसने वो invention करी. लेकिन if we go back, we will see most of these inventions, most, I'm not saying all, and I'm not taking away the glory from the others. Most of these inventions were either started or done much before the others thought of, and they were done in India.
Right.
In our country.
And I think somewhere the context of how we are saying history is more Anglo than Vedic, because we've all grown up learning history and seeing tradition in a different manner, seeing tradition as something जो हमको parents बताते हैं कि ऐसे करना है, but not knowing we have a great scientific temperament, scientific tradition also, mathematical tradition.
If I may interrupt,
Sir.
स्वामी दयानंद ने यहाँ पे एक बड़ी अच्छी बात कही थी. उन्होंने अपनी भी जो आइडियाज दिए, जो अपने भी जितने भी आइडियाज उन्होंने दिए, उनका एक बेसिक आइडिया था सत्य पर खोज करो, look for truth. And he did not believe in just because somebody told him to do that. Let us look for the truth. What is the truth? And when he said truth, he did not only mean what we spoke. Today we think of truth, सच बोलना. That was not his concept. He was talking about that truth that never changes. जो रित है वो बदलेगा नहीं. जैसे 5000 साल पहले, if you put your hand in fire, it would burn. Today it would burn. That is the truth. So he said, look for those truths.
The reality.
The realities. And on those truths work. And again, where I interrupted you, he said, even if I have said this, don't believe it because I am saying it. Look for it. And a very famous philosopher, I think it was Mr. Wright, who said, if on one hand I was given the absolute truth, and on the other hand, if I was given the search for truth, I would choose the search for truth rather than truth that somebody else gives to me.
The learning lies in the process and not in the destination.
Yes, yes, of course. The journey is the process in itself. The journey is what we always wish somebody happy journey. We never wish them happy destination.
Right. So we're going to take a short break here, and once we come back from there, after some fitness tips, we'll get some more information and learn more from you. But right now, let's go back to our guest for the day. We have journeyed over centuries in different forms, and I hear there is a huge, I think, a reservoir of learning that we have, and somewhere we put it in the bucket term of traditional knowledge and de-link it with modernity. But what is the relevance of tradition today? How modern can tradition be?
Oh, tradition never became old. Traditions, you just have to understand them. Even the rituals that are done, if you understand those rituals, there is definitely a meaning behind them. They're scientific. They have always lasted and will always keep on lasting. They are there to stay, and we must abide by them and adopt them. They are our heritage. That is why we are rich, culturally and heritage.
How we see success?
Of course, everybody's terminology of success is different, and it changes along the journey of his life. I remember when I was in school, and my hobby was aero modeling. And I would be able to make an aero model, and when it flew, I would shout out, Eureka, I am a success. But today, my definition changes of success. And similarly with everyone else. It keeps on changing as the circumstances in your life change you. I feel success is when you achieve what you set out to achieve, and it should give you happiness, then it is a success. Most of the times, even the dictionaries call success just you achieve what you set out to achieve, that is success. I don't think so. I think so if it does not give you happiness at the end of it, it is not success.
So you've been awarded the Padamshree, you've got other awards also, your institutions have got so many awards. What do awards mean to you?
Well, frankly speaking, award just means that work harder. That means they encourage you to work a little more. That's all. Otherwise, it is just a recognition of what you have done. But at the same time, in my case, I personally feel, if I may put it in a little lighter vein, you see, in DAV, like Swami Dhyanand had said, we have a number of ladies who are employed.
Right.
The large number of ladies. As a matter of fact, I would even put it at about 80%.
Wonderful.
We have a staff of 60,000,
Lovely.
and about 80% would be ladies in DAV. And in the Arya Samaj, on the other hand, a huge number of males are there working. So I think since the government might have seen that in the Arya Samaj and DAV some work is being done, so who should they award? So they came to my name and they said, he is a male, but his name is that of a girl, so let us give it to him.
So
they're trying to please both. That's about it.
What a sweet thing to say, Punamji. But, and I think you actually address the larger context to say that finally, and we think of gender parity, we think of bringing in balance, how do we see the other gender, understanding the other gender. But I think it's also about seeing work.
Yes.
Coming back to, and you said we have a large number of ladies working
Yes.
in the education system?
Yes.
Because I think teachers are, by and large, it's seen as a female profession, right?
No, well, yes, it's more convenient for them
Okay,
to go home early and look after the family and the children.
okay. So I want to ask you about teacher training. You know, we always believe, and today आप किसी से भी पूछ लीजिए और वापस जाइए उनसे डीप सेल्फ रिफ्लेक्शन एक्सरसाइज करवाइए तो बोलेंगे कि कोई एक इंसान जिसने आपके आपके करियर का रास्ता बदला, आपकी सोच बदली या आप पे कोई इम्पैक्ट हुआ, 90% ऑफ द केसेस कोई टीचर होती हैं, चाहे स्कूल या कॉलेज. सो डीप इज द इफेक्ट, यू नो, बिकॉज यू नर्चर यंग माइंड्स एंड वेरी वेरी सॉफ्ट, यू नो, स्टिल घड़े कच्चे होते हैं और उनको वो पकाती हैं with the right temperature. We struggle in our country with good quality teachers. Why do we lack this?
Well, because basically the lack is of the training of the human resource. In DAV, we thought of that and we started a department which I did about 5 years back, which I called the DAV Center for Academic Excellence.
Okay.
It has a threefold approach. It is that firstly, in all our schools, we started a class 8 pan-India examination. The idea was not to declare results or to showcase anything. The idea was to diagnose where and in which area, which school is weak,
Okay.
which subject is weak. So we do that. Then we send the papers back to the schools to check it themselves and put in their other assessments and declare the results. For us, that is sufficient to know that which subject there is some weakness. So then we have a academic audit system. That academic audit team goes in and tries to diagnose why that area, that particular subject is weak in that institution.
Okay.
After they study, they see the teaching capabilities of the teachers, they sit in classrooms, watch the teachers teaching, and in every subject it is done. And after that is done, they give their report, and then we send in what I call, first it was the symptom, then the diagnosis, and now the vaccine.
Okay.
That is our in-service training programs,
Right.
where we give training to our teachers, and they're tailor-made for those particular jobs. Wherever the weakness is, it is tailor-made to suit them.
Okay. So when teacher training happens and when you did this whole analysis, some learnings that cropped up and which if you share them, maybe somebody else can benefit from them?
Well, yes, we have. Most of the times it is, you see, today it's a sorry fact that teachers, it's not out of passion that they are teaching. They are teaching because it's a necessity. They need the money. And very few institutions, unlike DAV, pay the full money.
Okay.
Most of them are still struggling because the fees are not there. There's poverty in the country. Don't look at metropolitan towns. They're fine. Everything is okay. But I'm talking about other areas, widespread areas in the country. I mean, the weaker areas where the Adivasi areas, where people hardly pay any fees. So there, naturally, the quality of teachers that they get is very poor.
Okay.
And since that is poor, the teaching capabilities are poor, and it is because of that the students are poor. So our attempt was to bridge that up by training them.
And break this vicious cycle.
Break the vicious circle somewhere or the other.
Okay. And you have a great alumni network.
Oh yes.
And somewhere the resultant, the changes that have come in because of teacher training, are you seeing there's greater traction and greater energy in the alumni network now?
Oh yes. I mean, I'm very happy with that. The alumni today proudly comes up and tells us that I'm proud to be from DAV.
Okay.
And from the alumni, let me tell you, some time back I had a chance of meeting one gentleman by the name of Mr. Richard Reiki. He was the chief of KPMG. And when I asked him that you go around the world hiring people, so young children, various accounts departments, etc., you are hiring people. So who do you find would make a CEO of a company? So he told me, as regards the other junior posts are concerned, It can be worked out. They're a good professional, it will work. But when it comes to the CEO, the top man, unless he's a good man, unless he has a good character, he's not going to be there.
Right.
So that is again puts us back onto our path of character building. It just enforced my point of view, and it helped us that yes, even the alumni think so.
Right.
And if we look at our alumni, we have produced 3 prime ministers and so many people from politics, from you can just name it anywhere. 40 lakh living alumni we estimate at the moment. We have a record of about 3 lakhs, but 40 lakhs we estimate. So far, we have opened our association only to NCR and the Tri-City of Chandigarh.
Okay.
The rest of the areas are still, we are trying to get to them one by one.
Right. So the rest are still areas of opportunity that we are looking at.
Yes. And now our alumni are very helpful to us.
Okay.
Extremely helpful. They are coming back to our institutions, going and giving them talks, motivating the children, how they could become the next, that gentleman like, Anupam Kher, going to his own school and Simla and talking about it and telling the children over there and very happy about it.
So real life stories are also very inspirational.
Yes. Because children find it very nice. They can maybe become the next Anupam Kher.
Yes, why not?
If they want to go into that field. And Shah Rukh Khan is there. So there are so many of them.
Right. So coming back again to this whole circuit of when we see growth, when we see success, when we see development, I think failure plays a huge role in how we start seeing life. How do you see failure?
I think a failure is only he who will not stand up again. Anybody who can stand up again and walk the path again is definitely not a failure. He's going to succeed. And anybody who keeps sitting, he, I think, has a greater chance of failure than the person who keeps moving. Because only the person who's moving will stumble.
True.
And when he stumbles, people may call it failure. But then, that is where he's going to go for success.
It's only when you do something can you make a mistake.
Can you make a mistake?
Right.
Simple.
Okay. So, in one's darkest hour, in moments of great adversity, one looks for some inspiration, a ray of light. Where have you looked?
Well, I have, frankly speaking, if I may say, it's a very personal thing, but my grandfather, who later on became a sannyasi by the name of Mahatma Anand Swamiji.
Okay.
I have travelled now practically the entire country, going from institution to institution, and to areas where still roads hardly exist. So he went around them in those days when they were moving around in bullock carts. So I marvel at him that was there no stress on him, and without much finances, trying to work out things, and then also talking spiritually and explaining things to people and giving talks, opening institutions. So I definitely look at him. Whenever I do get tired, then one does feel that yes. But then in the DAV field, I feel Mahatma Hansraj.
Okay.
Mahatma Hansraj, he was the first headmaster of DAV. His, if I may say in Hindi again, त्याग और तपस्या, ये 2 लफ्ज हैं. और त्याग और तपस्या में कौन सा उनका ज्यादा था, ये कहना बहुत मुश्किल है. त्याग भी बहुत था, तपस्या भी बहुत थी. और उस इंसान ने तो 1 रुपया भी नहीं लिया DAV से और सारी जिंदगी अपनी इसी काम पे दी. और जिसके लिए अपने खानदान को, अपनी धर्म पत्नी को, अपने बच्चों को, सबको निग्लेक्ट करके उसने DAV की सेवा करी. आफ्टर वर्किंग 25 years in it, उन्होंने कहा अब मैं DAV का भी त्याग करता हूं और मैं अब आर्य समाज की सेवा करूंगा. So the man's sacrifices were tremendous.
Right. I think you've picked up a very, very beautiful point here, sir, as to how we see tyag and how we see the ability to leave that which has given us stature with equanimity. And so we keep saying young people, encourage them, give them growth, give them a view beyond. And yet the longevity is increasing, people are more active for longer. So how do you see that? Can one move away at a later stage of one's life, even if one is holding a position, to say, I need to make way for a younger second line of leadership to come up?
स्वामी दयानंद जी ने इस चीज की प्रॉब्लम बहुत बढ़िया सॉल्व करी थी
जी.
He gave us the आश्रम व्यवस्था जिसके अंदर उन्होंने कहा कि वही ब्रह्मचर्य होगा, गृहस्थ होगा, वानप्रस्थ होगा और फिर सन्यास होगा.
बहुत सुंदर है एक्चुअली.
और जो वानप्रस्थ है, बेसिकली इट इज गिविंग बैक टू द सोसाइटी व्हाट सोसाइटी वाज काइंड इनफ टू गिव टू यू. एंड सन्यास इज देन thinking about your maker and trying to get there in the same way.
Right.
So he made way for the next generation to move up.
Right. Because organizationally, in the corporate sector, the senior management is getting younger and younger. Is that happening with larger societies and, say, quasi-government organizations or bodies?
Well, frankly speaking, in DAV, it is not.
Okay.
In DAV, because in the managing committee, in the office bearers, only after Vanprasth will they come.
Right.
While they are young, they are working.
Okay.
So it's only later in life when they think about giving back to the society that they come to us for giving back to the society. And at that age, of course, I was a little early, I think, in DAV. I joined it at the age of 50. But normally people would join after the age of 65, 70.
Right. So which is when they say, this is my way of giving
my
back.
way of giving back, and then they become either members of the committee or office bearers, and then they are elected to various posts. But it is purely, there is no salaries involved in these posts.
Okay. So it's voluntary, and they volunteer their time.
Voluntarily.
Okay.
Voluntarily.
Right. Personally, sir, what inspires you deeply as a value?
As a value?
Yes.
I feel in context of today's world, I feel that that line maybe from the Bible, do unto others as you expect others to do unto you. That is one line I feel is that everybody should adopt and keep it in their mind. And that is the main source what is troubling my country and taking it down when we want enough for myself and not for the other person. It is good for me, not good for him.
Right.
So I feel that is one line, and it inspires me the most because it gives me the inspiration to do what the other person wants me to do.
And we are the reservoir of human resource even for the rest of the world. I think a lot of them are looking at India even to run their organizations. How do you think we can actually bring up the quality and invest in our young people beyond character building and beyond what DAV does, as parents who are stakeholders, as bosses who have these young people under them, as organizations, as a political system?
You see, as anything, I personally feel when a child is born, he is born inquisitive. He has an inquiring mind. And sorry to say, but most of the places education is killing that inquiring mind, and we are making it dull by giving them all kinds of things.
Right.
So I feel, in like if I say so again in Hindi, एक जो लफ्ज है हमारा जिज्ञासा, जिज्ञासा हमें जरूर बच्चों के अंदर रखनी चाहिए, और वो हर पेरेंट का भी फर्ज है, हर टीचर का भी फर्ज है, और सरकार का भी ये फर्ज है कि वो जिज्ञासा जो लोगों के अंदर है उसको मारे ना. If somebody asks a question, honor it. Let it be answered. Let him be satisfied. और साथ साथ जब inquisitive mind होता है, then आदमी को कुछ जरा ज्यादा ही पता लग जाता है, जो उसके लिए अच्छा भी नहीं होता है. तो उसके साथ साथ उसको दूसरी चीज चाहिए, वो है विवेक. The difference between right and wrong. अगर हम ये दो चीजें as a whole अपने अंदर पैदा कर लें और सारे नेशन के अंदर पैदा कर दें कि जिज्ञासा रहे, we will definitely reach for the sky, we will definitely reach for the stars because we will want to know more, and we will know the difference between right and wrong, and we will go on the right path.
Right. So with the increasing internet, increasing technology and things becoming available so easily to us, and instant gratification, or sometimes even knowing more than your teacher, is becoming, at least in some areas, is becoming the norm. Do you think the student-teacher का जो relationship है ये बदली हो रहा है?
नहीं, फर्क तो बहुत है पहले से. पहले वो जो गुरु शिष्य वाली बात तो अब रही नहीं.
जी.
गुरु शिष्य होना वो चाहिए, लेकिन वो गुरु शिष्य वाली बात अब कम है. अब थोड़ा सा, क्योंकि टीचर्स के अंदर भी प्रोफेशनलिज्म है. दे आर नॉट पैशनेट. पहले गुरु जो था वो पैशनेट था. ही वाज नॉट डिमांडिंग एनीथिंग. एट द मोमेंट the teachers are there, they have their own demands, they have their own requirements to meet, and that is where I try and encourage the teachers, because every question, every teacher cannot know the answer.
True.
Many a times it happens कि class के अंदर student ने एक सवाल पूछा और teacher को नहीं मालूम. Now either the teacher will just beat around the bush, maybe give a wrong answer, maybe, and the child is convinced that what teacher says is right. So they should not do that. And at the same time, and sometimes they just snub the child, don't ask too many questions. So I always encourage my teachers to put your hand on the shoulder of the child and tell him, you don't know it, I don't know it, so let us go out together, maybe to the library, maybe to some knowledgeable person, more knowledgeable than us, and try and find out the answer. When we find it out together, the child will never forget.
How beautiful. How beautiful. So a learning orientation, and we believe children come to colleges and schools to learn. I think we become a teacher to learn.
Yes, of course, of course, of course.
Coming back to how you see DAV, what is your vision for this institution?
Well, naturally, like anybody would like his own institution to grow, not only in size, but I would like to actually take the education towards excellence, to get good quality educators and take them, bring them out, whether it be from this country, abroad, anywhere, and also mix, like you said, my heritage, my culture, and mix it with that education and then feed the child. And another source that we would like DAV to do, which we have started, is to go out into those areas where education is needed most.
Okay.
Where other so-called big schools will not enter because there are no fees to be gathered from there. I have just opened 74 schools in one go in Chhattisgarh area.
Wonderful.
And all of them are in those areas which are the Adivasi areas, or what the government HRD ministry calls educationally backward areas. Okay. In those areas we opened 74 of them. And as far as fee is concerned, you know the conditions there. I don't have to spell them out.
True. And teaching staff?
Teaching staff, we have tried to develop some from there, and some we are taking away from the north and taking them there, and trying to make them also get into that routine of living like that.
Oh, they have a beautiful and a diverse culture. So is the syllabus over there, has it been tweaked to incorporate their communities and how they think and have lived?
Yes, what we are trying to do over there is on every Sunday, when the school is closed, we are trying to invite the community to come in, the areas around, the villages around, to come into the school, become a part of the school, trying to teach them needlework and house management and other things like that to the ladies, and to the gentlemen, trying to teach them life skills, communication skills, how to talk, how to behave, how to eat. So those things also are being done. So maybe we can involve the community at large with that over there.
Right. That's how integration starts. And उसके बाद फिर हम वो कहते हैं ना ताना बाना बुन सकते हैं, because कहीं education top down हो जाए and not really connected with their reality. So as we like to believe that every moment we are creating history, living a present to create a history. And you can imagine this day, the 22nd of February, would have really created a lot of history, because so many have gone by. So many important events have taken place, but just let's share a few of them. The 22nd of February 1958, Abul Kalam Azad, Indian politician and scholar, passed away. George Washington, the first President of the United States, was born on the 22nd of February 1732. World Thinking Day is celebrated every year around the world on the 22nd of February by Girl Scouts and Girl Guides. Thank you so much for coming on to our show. बहुत कुछ सीखा आपसे और जाना भी, and I think DAV की जो vision है आप उसको आगे लेके जा रहे हैं at such a wonderful pace. Great work is being done. We wish your institution all the best, sir.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Namaste.